Well, moving into our last segment of the day, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the gladiator back in the chair, in the hot seat, folks. Peter Doocy of Fox News is back. We haven't seen him for a while here. He just had a kid, so let's congratulate him in the chat as well as the comment section. I don't know if he'll see it. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But we have him questioning here on Joe Biden's relationship with China. And is Joe Biden scared of the Chinese? Here's her response.
Thank you, Kareem. Why is President Biden afraid of China?
The president is not afraid of China.
Well,
Did you see the president last week when we went to Ukraine, went to Kyiv? This is not a president that's afraid of anything. It was a historic trip that many of you said was brave. So clearly, this is a president that's not afraid to go to a war zone. He's not afraid to go there when there's no military presence on the ground. So there's nothing that this president fears.
I would like to point out there was literally reporters that have been on the ground way longer than Joe Biden's ever been there that said they never heard an air raid siren in their entire time of being there. And it just so happens that an air raid siren went off for the 30 minutes that Joe Biden actually showed up and has not heard it since. So don't give me this like, oh, he was in a war zone. No, he wasn't. Stop it. Stop it. You're not going to put Joe Biden in the middle of a war zone. You literally called Russia and let them know that Joe Biden's going to be flying in to not shoot Air Force One down. Don't give me this of like, he's some hero. They storming the beaches of Normandy. You know, bombs were going off around him, missiles, you know, really that guy could never run. Okay, we've seen him. He's fallen upstairs. Don't give me this. So you're gonna put him into a war zone. He's fallen up the stairs multiple times going into Air Force One. He's hit a golf ball backwards. You wouldn't give this guy a gun, to be honest. Lord only knows what he would do with it. But there might be some truth that he's not actually scared of the Chinese or anything because he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know where he's at. Of course he's not going to be scared. He's just trying to figure out where the hell he is. Who dropped him off in Ukraine? Who the hell is that guy? Sir, it's Zelensky, sir. It's the same president, you guys, that was talking to a Salvation Army guy, and he thought he was Secret Service. He thought the guy was Secret Service, some military guy that said they're probably protecting him or something. He don't know what's going on.
China flew a spy craft over the U.S. The president didn't really do anything to China. And according to the FBI director, China may have created something that has killed more than 1.1 million people in this country. And President Biden is not punishing them.
So you're giving me two things here. So let's take them in parts. As we talk about the China surveillance balloon, the president did take that down, and he did it in a way that as it was on its path, we collected information from it. We protected our national security information on the ground, and we did it in a way that was smart, effective, and also.
How many of you just spit out your coffee or just yelled at the screen? It was smart. What? It was like good for our national security or whatever the hell she just said. I was so baffled. I was so baffled by what she just said. We literally watched it leave mainland China, fly over all our military installations it could, grabbed all the intel, sure, as they gathered all their intel, and then we blew it up over the Atlantic, but we did everything smartly, right? We did it the right way. Shouldn't be surprised after the last segment watching this idiot talk about there's no plan B, right? These people are going to cure cancer and crime. Yeah, okay.
Protected the American people. That's what the president's always going to put forth is the safety of the American people. So that's what the president did with that particular issue. Look, as it relates to you're talking about the COVID origins, we've been very clear. We've been very clear that we need the data and we need to figure out how to get to the bottom of the COVID origins. And that's something that the president has said since the beginning of this administration. So that none of that has changed.
But with his campaign, it was all about shutting down the virus and how hard it is for families with an empty chair at the kitchen table because of COVID. If we now know, according to the FBI director, who is most likely responsible for all those empty chairs at all those kitchen tables, why not do more to try to hold them accountable?
So I'm going to flip that on its head for a second.
God, I'm so glad Peter's back. Jackie, we love you. and nothing against you by any means, but we also love Peter as well. This is a great question. This is exactly what we were talking about in yesterday's episode and episodes prior of where's the UN? Where's the world on this? Where's Joe Biden? Where's everybody going after China on this? Where's the penalty? Where's any sort of consequence to what they just did? How many years are we going to go by and just go, it's okay. Well, we don't have a consensus. Some people say you did it. Some people said you didn't. You say you did it, and we're going to trust you, China. Because it's Joe Biden, Democrat Party that's embedded with the Chinese, right? Joe Biden is as much embedded with the Chinese as the NBA is. All right? It's so ridiculous and a bunch of nonsense.
It was because of this president that took action. By the way, the last administration did not. They did not have a comprehensive plan to actually. No.
Responding to COVID, but where did COVID come from? If we know.
Peter, you can't tell. First of all, you can't tell me how to answer the question. I'm going to answer to it.
He's trying to help you, lady, because we're trying to guide you into how to answer questions properly because you're not answering them. So they have to help you. That's why Jackie Heinrich did the same thing the other week. And you got upset with her for trying to do the same thing. So Peter's trying to nudge you along here of like, you're not answering anybody's questions here. You're not answering mine. So maybe you should answer it this way and then kind of expand upon it. But no, you can't tell me how to do this.
For you, right? So just give me a second. So because he took those actions, he actually helped to save lives because he took action to make sure that people got shots in arms and put a comprehensive plan in front of the American people and put in the work. We actually were able to get to a place where COVID is not gone, but we now are in a place, we're in a different place in the pandemic, and that's because of the president. And that's because of his leadership. So let's be very real about what the president has done over the last 2 years to take on COVID, to make sure that the economy is growing again, to make sure that we're really working for the American people. So that's number one. I want to be very, very clear on that. Now, to your question about COVID origins, as we know, we have seen many different conclusions, right, from the intelligence community. Some of them have made some conclusion on one side. Some of them have made conclusions on the other side. Some of them say they don't have enough information. So I want to be also very careful there as well. And it was because of this president, very early on, the first several months of his administration, he went to the intelligence community and said, we need to figure out how to get to the bottom of this. We need to figure out how this all occurred because who knows, we have to try and prevent any future pandemic. So that is the work that this president did.
So 2 years later, you still don't have any answers. Oh, lovely. Yeah, but we're supposed to trust you with all this stuff. Sure. Yeah, we're supposed to entrust Joe Biden to getting to the bottom of this. Let me be very clear on this. The president takes it seriously. And since his first couple weeks in office 2 years ago, he really kind of established a whole movement here within the intelligence community that's a whole of the government, according to John Kirby, that's going to come down to who did this. And we'll get it done for you guys. Oh, we will before we're out of office. Does anybody believe that? Does anybody actually believe Joe Biden's going to have a consensus on this thing?
And it included clearly the Department of Energy that has national labs. And so now they're continuing to double down and try to get to the bottom of this. Our relationship with China has not changed. It is very different, very clear, very different than how we've seen it in the last administration. All right, I'm going to continue. Go ahead, Peter.
Isn't that kind of a problem that your administration hasn't changed its relationship with China as they've literally unleashed an entire pandemic on the globe that led to 1 million plus people dying and also millions of people being severely ill, leading to millions of people receiving a vaccine that maybe shouldn't have received. That's leading to blood clots and people's just hearts just stopping, brain aneurysms, whatever it may be, long COVID happening. I mean, there's so many things that are taking place because of China on top of them. I don't know, sending spy balloons over other nations. What was it, like 40 nations they've done this with? But yeah, our relationship is still perfect. Why? Because you have Joe Biden in office, you guys. You have Joe Biden running the show with the dollar that he is that can't get anything done, but it's all comprehensive. It's all clear. It's all specific. Well, here's Peter Alexander following up with our relationship with China. And is it kind of a struggle with China or is it something more or less? Let's hear her be clear on all of this and her answer to it.
Separate thought on China, if I can quickly. The administration's constantly described the relationship between the U.S. and China as one of strategic competition, a point that the president made himself a couple of weeks ago when he spoke about this issue. The Congressman Mike Gallagher, who is the Republican chair of the House Select Committee on China yesterday, referred to this relationship as an existential struggle. Does the White House agree with that characterization, and is the White House understating the threat from China right now?
So under this president, we are more prepared to outcompete China, protect our national security, and advance a free and open Indo-Pacific than ever before. That's under this president. And that's because of the work that he's done in the last 2 years, and also the experience. This is an experienced president, as you know. He spent more than 30 years in the Senate. He spent 8 years as vice president, and so he understands how to deal with foreign policy relationships, foreign leaders. And
She can't even get it out of her mouth. It's not even close to being believable. Honest to God, if you had somebody telling you a story and they were talking like this lady, fumbling through their words, trying to figure out what to say, would you really believe that person? Hand to God, would you? Because I sure as heck wouldn't. Joe Biden, you know, he's good at his job, right? He's great at his job. If he's so great at his job, if he's been so good at his job for literally decades, why does everything suck that he has to be involved with? Well, that's causing massive inflation, having gas prices go through the roof, trying to get rid of our fossil fuel industry, allowing Russia to invade Ukraine, because that didn't happen under Trump, having the possibility of China invading Taiwan. You have Iran wanting to blow us through the roof. You have freaking Israel shenanigans going on over there. I mean, you got spy balloons flying all over the United States now. I mean, it is thing after thing after thing. Massive illegal immigration taking place. No president in U.S. history has ever seen the massive amount of flooding of illegal immigrants coming across the southern border than Joe Biden's seen. So it's just amazing how well he's so good at his job. Yeah, no, he's great. He's perfect. He's been around for a long time. Oh, he's good.
And so that's how we see our relationship with China moving forward. Many of our efforts we have been pursuing are bipartisan. They're underscoring the alignment at home on the key issues. And we will continue to work with Democrats and Republicans because the way we have moved forward is indeed in a bipartisan way.
Let me follow up on a separate question that was asked.
So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.